Hello and welcome to the Dad and Sons podcast, your number zero source for video gaming news, views, discussion, and audience participation shenanigan. My name is George, the G-Man Gaylor, and I'm joined by our esteemed co-hosts. First up is the award-winning ice noodler, Liam Edwards.
Here is my contractually obligated hello.
And we also have the first ever second place winner of Crazy Tim's Treasure Trove of Games Kicked Invitational, brought to you by Crystal, tagline, stupid good, Matt Visual.
What? Yeah, I is here.
So I want to bring us in with the very unconventional topic that I think might help start us off with some intensity this Tuesday morning. A shocking, controversial, explicit, and scandalous topic of sex robots.
I knew this day would come, and I knew it'd be you.
So over the past weekend, and we've only had a weekend. We're recording on a Tuesday after previously recording on a Friday. So our small talk that we go through with this podcast might be particularly shorter than usual, which leads me to scraping the bottom of a crusty, moldy, rancid barrel for a topic like
just
this.
Like a sex robot vagina.
Yeah, sex robots. I watched. Oh, gross, Liam. I watched a documentary over this weekend.
Wow, that took you a while.
Yeah. I watched a documentary over this weekend. It was like a BuzzFeed news sort of production on Netflix with the lady friend, and it was about sex robots and apparently how Real Doll is making an animated dismembered head you can stick on top of your real doll. They interviewed someone who was a sex doll connoisseur who had a house with like a lineup of them hanging on hooks.
That's so creepy.
And he described his relationship with the dolls as something that involves honesty. That there was a honesty in this relationship between him and an inanimate object mass-produced by a factory that was the whole thing that weirds me out about it. He said that in human relationships, people are inherently dishonest to one another and don't trust one another and hide things from one another. And that when he's talking to an AI algorithm sex robot doll, it's somehow a more honest relationship.
Wait, so these robots actually respond to him? He has like super high-end ass robots.
Yeah.
Not just like the latex.
There's this wonderful scene where the sex robot, which at this point isn't screwed on top of any body, it's just like a dismembered head, that looks at the anonymous fan who they diligently try to blur and anonymize as much as possible. The sex robot is like, I love you, Tim, but you're gonna have to work a little harder than that to get what you want tonight.
Oh my god.
It was like kind of a weird coquettish tease that the robot gave him, and then it cuts back to him and he's just like, oh yeah, this is all right. I see this is a more honest relationship than what I have attempted with real human women.
Wait, so
As in, he's never had a relationship with a human woman before.
so he thinks of human women as sex objects, basically. People to have sex with.
He thinks that deceit is a natural part of the relationship, which I don't know if this means that people who would be really into sex robots are people who wouldn't have relationships so much as maybe people who have shitty relationships and think that that's normal.
It sounds like someone who doesn't know what a relationship is.
Yeah.
Right, that was what was like shocking to me, was that like the unpredictability of humans is what makes them so special. If you can eventually get used to the routine, then if you can actually make accurate predictions for what a unique, unpredictable personality do, then that's not an honest human relationship at all. That I get that it's an AI, but that sex robot doesn't love you. That sex robot is saying canned lines that are churned out of a narrow range of possibilities that a script writer in San Francisco who might not get paid enough made.
Wow. He needs to watch Her.
Yeah, good film.
Yeah, it's a good film, man.
I heard that the outcomes of that movie don't end well for anyone, including
What do you
society.
mean? Of course it does.
I thought, okay, so yeah, I guess I have to admit that I'm operating under the assumptions here because I haven't seen it.
Oh my god!
But I think
the information just
yeah, it filters into my brain and turns into the world's stupidest game of telephone.
Oh my god! You're just about to give the audience wrong information. That's terrible, George.
Yeah, I'm backing out here. So
Just like we did last week. Whoops.
Wait, what?
Don't worry about it, Matt.
Like I said last week, I edit this to make us sound smarter and faster.
Wait, what? What happened last week?
None of us had played the Nintendo 64 game Blast Gore.
Oh, okay. That.
You're talking about the great Blast Corp Bamboozle of 2018.
He got us good.
I was actually like on a track there. Like
I remember you saying Body Harvest, and I was like, this game is nothing like Body Harvest.
It's kind of like Body Harvest. Like,
no, it's kind of like Blast Gore.
The like draw distance, they kind of look a little similar in a way.
No, it's kind of like Blast Gore, and we were totally rused. We were bamboozled.
I think that tells us we probably should just hang it up. Just hang up the dad den. Just hang it up.
Because that essentially turned it into the last game, where you just go down the list of things that sound like a game you've played and don't remember that game you played that one time when you were 8 years old in 1999.
To be fair, we all rejected it, so it wasn't like we'd invested in a complete copyright infringement. We did all turn it down. I think we're safe for now.
I wonder how much it costed to make Blast Corps, because that was a 50
Certainly
million.
Not the 50 million.
Yeah. Especially in 1997 money.
I almost want to like interview someone from Rare and ask how much it cost.
So, I've been playing some video games besides watching documentaries on Netflix about sex robots. What have you guys been up to?
I have a Netflix no chill segment. I don't want to steal Matt's thunder. Mine's more like Netflix and lonely, unlike sexy Matt over there.
Wait. You have a lady friend. What do you mean Netflix no chill? Or
a lady
Netflix
friend who lives
lonely?
2 hours away from me.
I know the struggle, my friend.
I want to watch Netflix and chill. But I did watch Netflix alone because I had to watch the new Castlevania season 2 because I really enjoyed the first one.
I mean, aren't the walls thin enough that you're literally watching it with everyone in your apartment complex?
Speaking of, the guy who lives above me came home drunk the other day at like 2 a.m. while I was watching said Castlevania. And he's never made noise particularly loud before. But that evening, I don't know whether he'd like taken up like line dancing or something, because that fucker was making noise and he was ruining my Dracula consumption.
That's
Asshole.
such an incredibly specific complaint.
Well, he was very loud. But
I mean, maybe he was doing what you could not.
No. He seemed like he was. He seemed like he was pretty fucking whiskey dicked. That's for sure. That guy was wasted.
How would you know?
Because he was wasted.
Were you like listening for his dick flap noises or something? How can you tell with your ears?
Oh, George!
You said
early
whiskey
in the
dick.
podcast. Usually we keep that for the end.
Yeah, no one took it that far, George.
You did. You brought.
As Matt said, you can hear everything in Japanese apartments.
Yes. So I didn't know dicks had flaps though. But okay.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining
we
how
started
Liam
we started
deduced
talking
with his ears that this guy's got all whiskey dicked that night. That's.
I'm just no. Matt said that I could probably hear that. I said he seemed so drunk that he probably would have been whiskey dicked.
I remember you wording that a little differently there.
Let's not dive too much into this.
Yeah,
subject.
we've gone
Let's
from
move on.
sex
Let's move
robots to
on.
this. I was trying to talk about Castlevania. It's your fault, George.
I apologize. I'll
Or
just gonna
Matt
sink in
talking
the
about
background.
thin walls.
Thin walls.
I mean, this segment's called Netflix and Chill. Netflix and Whiskey Dick. Maybe. I don't know.
Oh,
no.
Come on. Come on.
Speaking of Castlevania, then. I really like season 1. Did
sucks.
Did
Okay.
either of you guys watch it?
Of course.
Season 2 sucks.
Yeah, it's kind of boring, isn't it?
It's so, like, have you watched all of the episodes so far?
No, I watched about 3.
So I polished it off. I finished it today. There is one singular good episode that whole season, and you are 100% right. It's so boring.
Like-
It's
Like
so
I was watching,
boring.
I was like, man, where's the intrigue? Where's the action? Where's
Not even that, like-
Jesus?
Where's Trevor Belmont? Where's Alucard? Why am I watching 5 episodes of 4 vampires I don't know anything about talking in a dark hall for 5 episodes about nothing? Like, they're supposed to be going to war or at war or whatever, and they're just talking about nothing for 5 episodes. What happened?
Yeah, it's too much. Yeah, they were too much backstory about them. They should have spread that out, cut the fat a little bit.
It wasn't even like any backstory about them at all. It was like there's this guy
Well, there was
called
backstory
Gobran.
about the humans, right?
There was there's backstory about Isaac and Hector, and that's it.
Mm.
Understandably, because they play a major role, but like compared to that, like the emotional high of the series is meant to be about Dracula and Alucard, and like you learn nothing about their
Wow.
relationship as father and son.
They
throughout
built
the
that
whole
up
series.
though. That was like a season end banger for season 1.
Yeah, and then like Alucard's fucking amazing. Alucard's one of the best Castlevania characters. Yet they one, don't use him enough in this series, and 2, like they have all this character development for all these vampires and humans that nobody fucking knows about, and yet they have nothing. No like flashbacks to like childhood of like Alucard growing up with Dracula and how like Dracula's taught him to build up to the emotional high of the series, and yeah, that's it. There's nothing. Nothing.
So like that whole part where he was mentioning like his mother and how
Literally.
they both went separate ways.
Yep,
Blah, blah.
literally nothing.
None of that. I thought
No
I was gonna get
flashbacks.
to that bit.
Nope. You get
That's
like
not
a little bit.
good writing, though. That's not.
Oh my god!
You can't
And-
hint at something like that and just not bring it to fruition.
Yeah.
That's really weird.
And I don't know about you, Matt, or how you felt about this season compared to the first one, because the first one was incredibly promising and enjoyable at the time.
Yeah.
But like, the writing is so stiff and weird at times,
Mm-hmm.
and combine that with the laziest animation.
Yeah, compared to the first one. Yeah. I was wondering. I was like, what happened to all the frames? They're cutting out all the frames.
Oh my god. There's one, like, I don't know if you there's a scene like when they go to like the Belmont Manor or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's a scene when Trevor is talking with the girl, I forget her name, and there's one frame just where his face looks so fucked up. Like, he turns his neck and he has like almost, he looks like, he has like that scraggly drawn on beard that looks like Homer Simpson hair on his face.
No. They're doing the Dragon Ball Super thing.
Yeah, but there's like one pause where he reels his neck, and it looks so off to me that I rewinded it and paused it on the exact frame, and he looks like Shaggy. He looks like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Did you post that? 'Cause
No, I'm gonna try and find it, but oh my god, it made me laugh
oh my god.
so hard. For a good 5 minutes, it made me laugh. It was ridiculous. It is so ridiculous. I can't, like, I'm just so disappointed. Episode 7, for anyone who's watched it, episode 7, it's worth sticking around just to watch episode 7. That's where all the animation budget went. That's where all the cool action is. That's when Alucard gets his moment. It's worth watching for that.
He's
Wow.
like Sephiroth, you know? Especially that scene in episode 2 when he was like standing and fighting for the first time in the season. I was like, oh snap, he got the long sword and
Yeah.
everything.
Oh man, he's in episode 7. He gets to do some cool shit, and it's awesome.
It's
Now
a little
that we don't get to see Dracula die.
bit of a disappointment to hear that they didn't do a great follow-up of the first one. Like, the first one, I think we were talking earlier about how few great game to video adaptations there have been, and I think the first one was regarded as, like, the
first season was so
really
promising.
solid one.
I saw a lot of people saying this was awesome, and I'm like, oh, I'm super excited to watch it then. And then, like, what?
I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just boring.
It is boring, but that's the thing is,
But I
I think
only
it's
watched 3
ultimately massively
episodes.
disappointing.
Yeah.
It-
If you
like,
enjoyed
it's
the
only-
first one,
It's
doesn't
only
start
8
off
episodes
good.
long, and 5 of those episodes mostly take place in Castlevania and are just people talking, and not even like intricate Game of Thrones-esque planning like it's meant to assume what they're all doing. It's so mundane.
Yeah, and you know what's missing? That priest guy. That priest guy is missing, man. A good psychotic priest. He was just like, there's nothing, I don't know, there's something that tickles me when there's like a psychotic priest, you know, saying that, oh yes, this is God's way and blah blah blah, and the animation is just him just with his eyes twisted and stuff. You could tell, like, he's like, no, he doesn't believe in God, this is for his own thing. And you just see him do some like horrible stuff. Like, there's something satisfying about seeing him, you know, get killed or something like that, but we don't have that anymore. We don't have that that intense, like, oh man, I want to see this guy die. I want to see this guy die. This guy's twisted.
They travel all over the place and stuff in the first season. Like, Trevor gets around, he gets into some fights, and all this kind of stuff happens. And then in season 2, it just takes place in like 2 places. That's it. Inside the castle, inside the Belmont home, and then that's it. Apart from like a few little bits here and there.
They were trying to probably cram a lot of different stories, and they had to cut some stuff, and that's probably what happened.
Oh, I found it. I found the image.
Okay.
I found it. I can't believe that, like, this is the step.
I'm waiting.
Is this the Homer Simpson smear?
Discord, come on.
No, it's more like the Shaggy. Trevor Belmont turning into Shaggy. It's
Come on.
I'm bringing
You can do
it.
it.
Trevor Shaggy.
I believe in you. For those wondering, this is just as suspenseful to us as it is you.
Yeah, this is real time.
You're not gonna cut this out.
We're in for the wait. We're having a shared experience with the
No,
listeners.
this is it's coming. It's incoming right now. Uploading to Discord.
I'm at the edge of my seat here.
This is.
He better look like Shaggy.
This is
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look bad.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
expecting something like really bad.
Oh, come on! Look at that.
It's not glaringly obvious.
No, because I cropped it compared to like what the rest of the scene of everything that's going around him. It's like pretty fucking bad. I can't go frame by frame in VLC, so I'm trying to. But that whole stint of animation epitomizes how awful some of the animation can be at times.
But if they're just standing around talking, how complicated could it have gotten?
Yeah, you'd think that, but because of how stiff the writing can be sometimes, it just like all connects together to be.
Okay.
But that was a disappointment. But there you go.
So I don't have a section. I usually like talking about real things. So for like, I'm gonna ask a question, and I want to hear your guys' opinion.
Oh
okay?
shit!
Okay.
Okay.
It's relatable sort of to the podcast.
No, it isn't.
Not necessarily
Okay.
for games. Say you meet the lady friend. How do you tell them about the podcast?
Oh,
I do a podcast. How do you? And they ask like, what is it about? Like, what do you like? All this. Like, how do you describe Dad and Sons? And do you just avoid it, you know, entirely? Because it's easier that way.
I can't. I'm trying to think back on when she found out and how that conversation went.
Yeah, I asked you that when you guys started dating.
Yeah, I can't.
Well,
And you just told me that you just showed her.
Yeah, I think.
But you had the confidence to show her your nerdy stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah. She's into weird internet stuff by default. But I think the other thing is that I very luckily didn't have to because we started dating before the podcast.
Oh,
clever.
But, I mean, you still had to share that you were on YouTube and stuff. Though.
Oh, yeah. Which
is
at the
kind
time,
of the same-ish thing.
It was not as hard back then as it is now.
Yeah, I did a podcast.
It was before Logan Paul. I mean,
So, what is your opinion, Liam?
I can't remember how it went down. I think my lady friend asked me what I was doing one evening, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do a recording," and she was like, "A recording of what?" And I was like, "Oh, do you know what podcasts are?" In Japan, podcasts are not that popular. They're not really a huge thing right now. YouTube is massive in Japan. Like, you think YouTube culture is crazy in the West, but in Japan, it's like what every fucking kid wants to be these days.
Oh no. It's all downhill from here.
Oh, yeah. It's all downhill for Japan.
This is how the world ends, not with the winter, but with the like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah. I was like, oh, yeah, like a podcast. And obviously, Ran speaks incredible English. And so she was like, oh, yeah, I've listened to podcasts in the past and stuff. I don't listen regularly. I was like, oh, yeah, I record one with my friends. And she was like, oh, is it like about video games? Because she knows, obviously, I used to work in video games. I was like, yeah, I talk with two really good friends about video games. And, we have quite a good amount of listeners to keep it going. Trying to basically underplay it, that it's like a not very serious thing for her to investigate about. Immediately, she comes back to me the next day and she's like, oh, I listened to the podcast.
Oh.
I was like, oh, shit.
Did she correct you about details you got wrong regarding HDR TVs?
No, but she was super intrigued. She was intrigued as to why we called it Dad and Sons.
Yes.
And I basically just said, I came up with it after George had a meme about a dad squad. And I said, why don't we just call ourselves Dad and Sons? And it stuck, and now I have to explain this.
Is that how it happened? I can't even remember how it happened.
Yeah,
Okay.
like, George had the what? I don't think we've ever talked about this on the show, about how we came up with it. George, you had, like, all I remember is George had, like, a dad squad or something.
Me and my, like, Rainbow Six friends had the weird inside joke.
Yeah, because George was always asking me to play a game online with him. After we were talking about Siege and I was saying I was interested in playing, he was like, yeah, you should come join the Dad Squad. And every time we talked about it, he would say, come join the Dad Squad. And I was like, what the fuck is this Dad Squad? So then when we started thinking of ideas for a podcast, the only one I could think of was Dad and Sons. And I don't know.
Like Stanford.
I think you didn't care, and George was like, okay. That's how it stuck.
I loved it. Matt was suggesting the Sanford and Sons.
Yeah.
No. I was saying it's like Stanford and Sons, and then we should make a
theme song,
like a
based
theme song
on
with
that.
Stanford and Sons, because I grew
So
up with Stanford and Sons and watching what's the Good Times, and all that.
Oh yeah,
So-
that was what happened. We were talking about that for like days. We were talking about how funny it would be to be like a
To have
meme
that.
family, like to be a podcast family thing back like them. And we were immediately like, what if we can just get the Sanford and Sons theme made like a video game theme?
Yeah.
And now no one can figure out what the hell it's all about.
All the
Still,
youngins are like, what is
to this day.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
It's good to know, though, that initial history hooks people at the very start. I mean, that's really what they try to teach you to do in journalism school and writing school and literature novel classes. You want to hook the listener, the consumer of your product in the very beginning, and it's good to know that's happening without even having to listen to this crap.
And you all fell for it.
We've gotten distracted. We've gotten
Wait,
distracted.
I was gonna say,
Topic at hand.
Matt, you could just open up and be like, I'll be honest with you, I don't know what's more embarrassing. So I'm just gonna say I'm part of a cult.
That sounds like a Matthew thing
I'm
to
part
say.
of a cult.
Oh, okay, never mind. That was weird.
Which one's
Actually,
less
it's still in my
embarrassing?
realm. It's still in my realm. Yeah.
Every Tuesday morning, I have meetings with my cult. People online call me dad. Some might say that's a high-ranking membership.
But assure her that it's actually a very profitable, lucrative, multi-level marketing scheme.
Soon. Hashtag soon.
What good is a cult without like tithings? You know, you
And
gotta
selling knives.
pay
It's
the
not
bills
a pyramid
some way.
scheme.
Wait, so did I tell you guys about how I almost got roped into the Cutco knife selling?
I thought you were going to say a cult,
Cutco?
and I was going to be like, that's so George.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I don't know. Really, really hardcore salespeople who have to convince even themselves of how intensely awesome the product they want to sell is. Does kind of strike me as a little bit of a sort of culty behavior, like a mass shared delusion.
Yeah, like those Avon beauty people. Like,
They're all convincing themselves of some
Yeah.
ridiculous bullshit, and
They
over
have
the
to
years it
in order to sell
gradually
it.
becomes okay and part of their lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. It's being in sales. If anyone's been in sales, and you have to sell them like all sorts of extra things, that's what happens to you. You know,
You
you
have
try
to
to create
memorize.
a need, a want,
a
a
fictional
value,
demand.
a value, yeah, to the thing that you're selling. And sometimes it's a good thing, what you're selling, but sometimes it's just like some people just don't need the extra stuff, but you sell it anyway, right?
Yeah, I never need the extra stuff.
So that's kind of what happens when you're in sales. You have to believe it. If not, then you might go a little crazy or insane. And some people, who don't really care or think about other people, they tend to just not care, and they sell anyway, and weasels people's wallets. Just taking a hand,
Sniffs around in there.
going right in your back pocket and pulling out a
So,
few extra dollars.
how are you going to weasel your way into not getting embarrassed about admitting to a lady friend?
See, what I'm scared of is her going ham and listening to all the podcasts, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's what Ran did. And I was like...
God, she listened to all of them?
Well, she didn't listen to all of them, no, but she listened to
enough.
maybe like... Around the time, she listened to a few of the... Not all all the way through, because obviously to her, she doesn't really play video games and she has no fucking idea what we're talking about. It was more about like the intrigue to see who this person she was dating was. And if he's part of a cult and also a crazy salesman.
God.
I passed that test, luckily.
I try not to have versions of myself. I tend to be myself everywhere I go. So hopefully
me
there
too.
isn't a trend like oh my God, this is this. It's more like, oh, this is all this other stuff he does. Instead of it just being
who is the Matt that's here today? Is it the podcast Matt, or is it the YouTube Matt? Is it the I played Guild Wars for a living Matt, or is it
my gosh, it keeps coming up like every couple months. Just gotta bring it back, huh?
Yep.
It's because I saw a picture today of you. I won't tell you why. I saw a picture of you interviewing someone about Guild Wars, and that it just stuck.
It has to be Colin Johansson.
Yeah, I think
it has to be. Yeah. That's the famous picture, and then
you have
some people
killer,
put my face onto his face.
Killer afro there as well.
Huh?
You have a killer afro in this photo.
Oh, yeah. Back in the days when I had hair, I mean, I still.
To be
have
fair,
hair.
now you look like the Black Max Payne, and it's pretty badass.
Look in the mirror.
Black's pain.
I'm depressed.
I don't really have. All you can do is Hope? Hitting Hope?
Hope she doesn't say, man, you're a fucking nerd.
I mean, she's definitely going to say that. She's gonna be like,
Well, I
you're
already
a
told her.
fucking
I'm very
nerd,
honest. So, like,
but you're not as much as a nerd as the other two dweebs. But then again, you are the one who plays D&D.
Yeah, don't say that. If she listens to this one, it's
Dude,
over.
me saying you play D&D ain't gonna save you. You've just spent like the past 6 episodes talking about it non-stop.
It's either Pony or Poe of Exiles.
She might just listen to this one and be like, oh, sad. You know, she might be satisfied with this one.
Yeah,
So I'm just gonna keep
she actually might be booting up her Path of Exile file right now in secret. Her secret guilty pleasure playing Path of Exile and adding your Pony character as we speak.
So what I think I've generally found and noticed over the years is that when revealing my profession to the dated over the past 3 to 5 years, there actually is like some respect and admiration for taking the dorky dweeby hobby of video games and
turning it into something.
Like making a product you can sell with it.
Hey, to be fair, like, you bring up a good point, and this goes out to everyone who listens to the show. If you're dating someone who doesn't care about the things you're into and can't take what you appreciate seriously and is not supportive of things you're passionate about, you're not dating a right person anyway.
Very true.
And that's super important. You're not gonna have.
You don't want that separation there.
You don't. It's gonna only cause more problems down the line.
Yeah.
So I will admit, although when Ran first started listening to the podcast, it was scary and weird because how do you explain it? But she did it because she wanted to, see who I was also, but also because she was interested in who I am and she wanted to, support me. And she still listens to the show now and again because she knows it's something that's super important to me and what I do. So that's the kind of thing that you want out of it.
Whoever the algorithm happened to hook me up with for the past 2-3 years have generally been pretty supportive and chill about it.
Yeah, George, your lady friend, always helps you stream and is always there to help with that kind of stuff. So it only adds more weight to
the
Matt.
Tinder.
You just got to be super honest, I think.
The OK Cupid, the Bumble, the
Bumble, what's that one?
Oh, Plenty of Fish. There's tons.
I remember
of them.
Plenty of
Tons
Fish.
of
That
them.
was the kind of weird, cheap, trashy looking alternative.
Yeah,
Is Bumble the one where the women choose the men?
yes.
Yeah.
I was learning all this and like, I don't know if I want to try any of these. And then I just went out and just talked to people and.
Are you a
happened?
daughter? Are you worthy enough of our Matt? Send us an email.
Wait.
Yeah. Let's keep personal and
Whoa.
professional lives separate.
Whoa.
We don't want him to have an airport girl incident, right?
Oh my God. That's,
Remember
You
that?
love bringing that up, George. Don't
there's
you?
like 2 girls that listen to this podcast.
I'm sure there's more than 2.
It's called Dad and Sons.
I worry about that.
There's like one girl who tweets at us saying, "Oh, it's Dad and Sons. What happened to the daughters?"
That was Aubrey, and Aubrey's great. So
Yeah, she is. Wait, yeah, I'm just saying that she's probably like her and some other girl listens to the podcast.
no, I'm sure we have substantial stats that would be incredibly weird if 69,000.
There's a lot of guys who like to
If
act as women on the
69,999
internet.
regular males listen to this show.
So basically, a 69 with a lot of 9s.
Seriously? Wait,
I'm
69%
sorry.
males?
No, I imagine it's probably higher than that, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Anyways,
We didn't think about the naming.
I
we-
can't believe that we're 36 minutes in, and the most related to video games we've touched so far is that the Castlevania series one of us watched is based on a video game IP. Let's try to wheel ourselves.
Matt, you gotta keep
into-
us updated about this. This is another, I feel
It's
like
very
another
important.
Matt venture.
It's the one and only video game content on the show.
Yes.
If you're not going to play video games, Matt, you got to come to the table with something.
Listen, it's been 3 days since we recorded the last one. I've been moving into my new apartment. Oh, that's right. I'm in my new apartment.
Yay!
It's echoey. But it's fine.
Oh god. Okay.
So the sexiness is back.
I played more Cowboy Simulator 2018.
Is it still really slow?
Yeah, it's really slow, but I'm still enjoying it. All I've done is complain about it constantly, but yet still I can't stop playing it. It's when you do the missions, actually, the missions are a lot of fun. And some of the missions now I'm getting into, now I'm a bit more into the game, have been really fun and really cool. And I kind of have become sadistically obsessed with doing all the mundane shit in that game, like cleaning my gun.
Can you see yourself going all the way through and actually hitting the
Maybe.
final mission?
I played it for 6 hours on Sunday, which for me is like the longest session which is the longest session I've had in a while. So it's I don't know. I like being Arthur Morgan, I think. I like being that character and walking around talking to people. It's a lot less boring than Castlevania Season 2. I think one thing that I have thought about this week a lot, and a lot of people have been talking about it a bit more now the game's been fleshed out with a lot of players, is compared to other Rockstar open worlds, this is by far the most beautiful. And obviously it's the biggest as well, although it doesn't feel it at times. It's by far the most unnecessary. I don't want to say bad, but it's unnecessary. It's unnecessarily big. Because although you might think there's a lot going on in the world, and people would argue that there's a lot of things that happen outside the world, they are the same 3 things all of the time. Which is people on horses or on stagecoaches on the trail that you do the same thing of robbing, avoiding getting a bounty, which is super hard, and then you sell the horse or carriage or loot them and then dispose of their body. That is the main thing that happens when you go out into the open world. The second is hunting. It's the same deer, the same rabbits, the same birds. Hunting is a necessary part of the game to supply your camp and also to get meat for Arthur, and it is quite fun hunting animals, but it's the same every time. You stumble across a couple of deer, you chase them down a hill, you dead-eye them and shoot them as clean as possible, and it's over. And the third one is finding these random NPC instances, which are meant to be people you stumble across in the world.
Should I leave for 20 minutes and come back?
No, don't worry. I won't go on about it too long. But there's these people that you can help. Okay?
Yeah.
But I thought there would be hundreds of these different instances. But the game, you can check it in the stats. And I've only played the game for about 20 hours. And I've done most of that doing other things. But I've found 18 of the 25 instances. There's only 25 different instances. So I've come across the same generic dude who has a snake bite and needs venom either being sucked out of him. Or
wait a minute, do you do the sucking?
Yeah, you suck his leg.
Oh no.
No way.
Or you give him some health tonic. So I've come across that same guy 3 times. It's a different male model every time, but it's still this
a health
same
tonic
voice.
when you give him a health tonic?
Yes, you lose a health tonic. But
so you rather do can you choose to suck it out then?
Yeah, you can. I can't remember what happens.
Is there a suck button?
Yeah, there is a suck button. Suck the venom out is one of the buttons. But the thing is about the game is there is
Press the suck button. Episode 47.
It is a Rockstar game. I mean, come on, there's got to be some sucking. You could literally get blowjobs in GTA 5. So, come on, Matt. I wasn't going for the easy dig.
Well, I mean, you kind of did anyway.
No, that's true.
You did both.
I did both. But There's no
Goddamn
point in
Shakespeare
not helping
over
them
there.
out because it's so easy to help them out. And then when you're near like a general store or a gunsmith in the game, sometimes they'll be there and they'll let you get any item for free from that store on their tab. So you can get the most expensive item in the store, which is usually like weapons or outfits, which are like hundreds of dollars, for free. So there is
That's
no
real cute.
incentive not to help them.
That's adorable.
Well, it is, but it's supposed to give you the moral choice about, like, shall I take 5 minutes to help this person? Or shall I, like, loot their corpse? Or whatever. But there is literally no reason not to help them. You just, like, give the guy a health tonic, and then, like, 2 hours later, you go to a store, and he's there, and he's like, hey, I remember you. Thanks for helping me. You can get anything that's on my tab. And you're like, okay, I'm going to get a $170 suit. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, I don't know. Given the offer, I feel like I'd walk out of the store with like a new store.
He's going to be like, what did you get? Did you buy yourself some nice coffee? You'd be like, oh, I went one better. Spend all your savings on a suit. But, so there's no reason not to help them. But going back to the open world part, is that's all there is. The world is huge, but it's just hills and trees and rivers. And it looks pretty. And it's great for turning on cinematic mode, but that's it. That's all it is. There's nothing else.
Just kind of like generated wilderness.
Yeah, it is generated, but it's very Rockstar specifically designed world, so it gets recognizable. It's not like just generic copy and paste environment. It's definitely meticulously designed and placed.
Yeah, because GTA 5 didn't have that generated feel, even though it did have the like big satellite terrain.
Yeah, but even then you
chunk.
still have like recognizable landmarks.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a game like, I don't want to say like Sleeping Dogs or maybe Saints Row, where it is very much like copy and pasted city textures all over the place. There's no sense of area that you're in. What's cool about RDR is when you know you're near the camp, you can tell not by looking at your map, but because you are aware of your surroundings. You recognize where you are, which is weird to say,
which
because
I
you
would
think
hope. I hope that means they like didn't do the fuel thing of just procedurally generating miles upon miles of wilderness that can all quite often, by the freak of nature, coincidence of the generation, look exactly the same.
I mean, there is obviously parts that look the same. It's the West, so a lot of it is just like trees and dirt. But it's, as I said, it's still like Rockstar design, so it is very much, you recognize where you are because they've hidden landmarks or stuff that you would recognize as the player subconsciously, so you get a good sense of place. Other games ignore this design point and they just like think making a world is about like, you know, placing textures randomly and editing it on iteration and stuff like that. But the point being that because it's so empty, and because sometimes when you're trying to do missions, you have to go from one area to another, and the fast travel system in this game is fucking rubbish. Riding your horse is great, but when you're just trying to do missions because you want to, you know, get through the game, and your horse moves so slowly, and you're fucking mashing the X button to go across, the world is way too big for what it needs to be. The city, the towns in that game are way more interesting, but they're so far apart from each other that it's a bit aimless at times. So the world has been bumming me out a little bit. Like sometimes I'll like, basically before we started recording this, I was playing the game for an hour and I was doing a mission for John, and it wanted me to get a wagon, take the wagon to the other side of the map, which meant I had to leave my horse behind where I got the wagon. So I went all the way across the map without my horse and took this wagon to a hiding place. And then I had to go all the way back to the camp to meet John, but I didn't have my horse because my horse was on the other side of the map. So then I had to run halfway across the map, found a guy with a horse, killed him quietly.
Wow, murder.
Took his horse, and then had to ride all the way back to my camp. Then my horse magically did the video game thing where it appeared there, but it wouldn't appear when I wanted it, and I was trying to whistle it. So I spent half the time just running across this giant map, and I ran out of time and couldn't finish the mission before coming to record here, and that was an hour.
Wow.
So A
It
lot of
sounds like
people
a
have been-
good game. I mean,
No, but it is. But I think a lot of people, most comments are about like how clunky it is and how the user design experience, like the UI and stuff, is pretty bad.
I don't understand. This game got perfects. This game got 10s. This game is game of the year. I don't understand why you're saying these bad things about this game. I thought the game was perfect. The
Maybe
game
I'm
is
just
flawless.
I'm a cretin, Matt.
Okay.
A crouton?
But like a lot of people,
Wait,
a
what?
lot of people have
Cretin?
been comparing it to
Is
Breath
that a
of the
UK
Wild.
way of saying it? Cretin?
Cretin.
Is that a UK thing?
Cretin.
Yeah,
Not like-
I'm familiar with Cretan.
Yeah, I think you guys call it cretin.
I didn't... Huh.
You cretin. Cretin.
Wow.
Cretin.
Okay.
Cretin sounds like a drug to me. Or it could be like
Yo, let me get that cretin.
or it could be like creatines.
That's creatine. Creatine.
Creatine.
If you've been feeling a diminished quality relationship with your dad lately, ask your dad about cretins.
Or croutons.
Ask your dad about I don't know what to make our title. Okay, anyways, there's video games we can talk about.
RDR is pretty good. It's not perfect. It's a enjoyable experience that I'm liking, and this probably will be the last episode I talk about it.
Well, there you go.
Breath of the Wild still has a better open.
Okay, the thing that I want to avoid, why I'm scared of them just procedurally generating like a mass scale landmass, is that in Breath of the Wild it felt empty.
There's a complete difference
am I crazy?
between empty and interactivity. Like, Breath of the Wild and RDR's World are both of the similar vein when I talk about meticulous design. Those worlds were designed. They weren't copy and pasted. Both of them show examples of designers looking at the world on a flat surface and then designing hills and landmarks to make the player aware of where they are. Like in Breath of the Wild, you can pretty much always tell where you are based on like the color of the environment, like how high it can be, and the temperature and stuff like that. It's very meticulously designed to be like different. I don't want to say continents, but like you've got the like Arctic and you have the desert and all that kind of thing. RDR is very similar like that. It does good use of color and also scale in the way it designs things. But the thing is, Breath of the Wild, for all its flaws that you may complain about, it has a lot of interactivity with its world. Some of that interactivity is really boring, but the fact that you can chop down trees, set things on fire, make chop down a tree, roll that log into enemies, or roll that log into a river, then use it as a bridge, or use it for like wood to start a fire, to go flying. Like there's an interactivity to the world that doesn't matter where you go on the map. It's always interactive. Whereas RDR, unless you have NPCs that are the same NPCs or animals that appear every time you go on the trail, when you go out in the world, there is nothing to interact with. That's what I mean by empty. It's aimlessly big because there is nothing to interact with. You're just riding through grass fields compared to Breath of the Wild.
So why do you think they made it so big?
Because they sell copies. If you say you have the biggest map in video games, people are going to buy it. Also, Rockstar have a reputation to keep up for having ginormous maps. They've tried to be true to the word. They try to create like a Western, and part of being a cowboy was being inconvenienced by the fact that you didn't have an automobile.
I have heard people lament the game going out of its way to almost a fault for...
To try and be as
for
stubborn
bloat and
as a
feature
cowboy.
creep, and yeah.
Its scope is far too big for what it wants to achieve. It's enjoyable to see it try, that's why people are so enthralled by it. But it does, I would say, it more misses than hits most of the time with some of the stuff it tries that's new. But anyway, it's an enjoyable experience.
We'll hear about it again whenever it appears. Yeah. Also, when it shows up on the gameplay queue, God of War came in this week. I played it for a day. I don't know if I have anything substantial to add to your previous impressions of it. More or less, a lot of
George,
time
did you
was
do combat?
Yeah, a lot of time was spent with my eyes like widening out and being like, "Oh my God, Liam was right."
See,
It's awkward.
It took
I mean,
6
it's
months.
not the worst thing in the
It
world,
took 6
but
months,
it's a
but we're
little
here.
awkward.
I feel vindicated.
Yeah, it's very strange playing a game that very much seems like a beat 'em up. Like, you walk into circular arenas, they get closed off, that bad guys spawn into in like 2 or 3 waves until you beat them all. Then the gates open up and you move on, like you're playing DMC or God of War. Except it has that camera angle. It's like when. Like they picked the wrong engine or control scheme for the genre of the game that they're using. I remember when I played Metal Gear Solid Survive, which turned out to emphasize melee combat way more than the gunfighting you would typically expect in that series of setting, and how you had to point and aim a crosshair to swing your character's axe. Like, you had to aim and shoot your melee attacks. This one feels like you're aiming and shooting a crosshair to make your guy swing with melee attacks, instead of it kind of being a soft lock influenced by the direction of your movement stick, free-floating camera.
Yeah, it definitely
It's
feels like a bit of a
weird.
first-person shooter, but the bullets are just like an axe.
Boy, it's strange, and it takes time to turn. If bad guys are coming at you from multiple angles, I'm like mashing the dodge button and slowly like
can't just
creaking
change the
Kratos
sensitivity?
over. I can change the sensitivity, and there is a quick turn button, but by default, for a game that emphasizes a melee combat system, they have you turning very slowly with a degree of precision and time required that's more akin to a first-person shooter. Or, I mean, more like a third-person cover shooter, like the whole Last of Us shtick that got incorporated into making this game. And then on the other side of things, though, the emotional language of its visual storytelling is so gosh darn effective because they can get away with that we never cut away from one shot to another gimmick.
I'm happy. I feel I can sleep well tonight.
Wow.
After all this time, you can finally sleep well tonight. I am happy to solve this problem for you, Liam. I feel like we've slain a demon here today. If you have not been able to sleep for 6 months because you didn't know if I would more or less repeat the same thing you already said about God of War.
I thought I was crazy. People were saying the camera was fine. It's like, no, it wasn't. He's pulling out of it.
I mean, I can't see myself quitting the game because, like I said, I don't think it's the worst, terrible thing. It's just the kind of situation where after the first day of playing the game, I'm like, oh, I can see what people complain about the most here. Like something that seems like a glaringly more questionable core design decision than the rest of the package.
Are you going to finish it?
I think so. The other thing about renting is...
of course you're going to finish it, because we finish games here on Dan
No,
Sons.
but
That's true.
the thing
Dan
is-
Sons, the number one podcast for 100% completion.
Yes.
which is why we're not associated
those
with the
collectibles.
completionist.
We should have Gerard on the show one episode just to like kick us into gear. Well, Matt's pretty good at finishing games. Well, me and
Yeah,
George.
see,
He should
thing
kick me
is-
into gear to finish games, and he should kick George into gear to actually just like finish an episode of a TV show.
Since it's a rental, it's a different mentality. I don't feel obligated to do all the optional stuff.
No, you are obligated. Okay? The side quests, save the puppy that's in the tree.
And Yakuza Save the Puppy is the main quest. You can't have a puppy that can potentially die and it just be some optional that a player can throw away. All puppies must be saved. George Weidman, 2020. That's my campaign slogan. Anyways.
By the way, I put Dad and Sons in Google.
Yeah.
Just to see if our podcast comes up, and it's the first one, but there's also a lot of Dad and Sons companies around me.
Yes.
Automotive, Dad and Sons Customs,
I wonder if Dan
Sons.
Sons is
Construction
Japan.
Crew.
There's a Dad and Sons Etsy shop.
Holy shit, Dad and Sons, Japan Google as well. Dad and Sons, the Bunny Hop podcast. There you go.
I think we should sue all these people.
It looks like we're getting a little too greedy.
Too greedy. When have we become greedy?
I don't know.
We got to get to greedy first before we become.
Maybe the Suns
greedy.
will find out one day.
So, last but not least, before we move on to the news, I see that Liam's been playing more Soul Calibur. I wanted to talk about the character creator, which turns out to be that I think Liam might actually agree with me on the most fun part of that game.
Yeah, 100%. I pretty much spent all weekend until Sunday evening playing Soul Calibur character creator. Like not even the matches.
Yeah,
I would play like 5 matches with a friend, and then I would go back to 6 hours of creating characters.
I really wonder what the ratio looks like. Like if I tallied up all the time I'd spent actually fighting, and all the time I actually spent slightly adjusting the logo on Mike and Jay's lightning fast VCR repair patches that are actually some like weird Chinese characters gooped up on top of each other to look like a slightly vague representation. Have you seen any...
I was kind of annoyed though, because the first character we made turned out to be the best one, and we could never emulate how godlike our first creation was.
What was it?
It was Guts from Berserk.
Ooh.
Classic choice. I think I've seen a Guts with Siegfried's sword, which makes perfect sense.
I feel like there's probably a lot out there of...
You know, there's a few Gutses.
Yeah, there's definitely a few Gutses out there, but I was pretty impressed with what we could come up with.
Have you had a matchup against like a penis lizard man or the Cube?
No, but we did spend a good lunchtime watching Soul Calibur character creator like showcases.
Did my naked snake show up at all?
No, but there was some hella good ones out there of like Kamina from like Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, and some Kill la Kill characters. A lot of anime characters, of course. But man, it was good.
It's wonderful
so much fun.
seeing custom characters that so clearly and transparently have to fit a default body type underneath the costume. Like half the fun is how bad and janky like a crappy dollar store ripoff version of the character it ends up looking like.
Yeah.
When you make yourself and you have to cut corners a little bit because the hair isn't like exactly how your hair is, or your pectorals are 5,000 times larger than your actual pectorals, and you come out with these characters that resemble you as a person, but like an over-exaggerated anime muscular jank version of you.
It's really cute.
It's so funny.
It's like,
and then
also
when you fight with them, it's so funny.
it's the best damn marketing gimmick.
It's
I
so
think
good. That game
they could have possibly given
on
this release.
The game will carry on into the aeons.
It
Not
really
on its fighting skills, but because of the character creator.
It surprises me how much it caught on, because Soul Calibur 5 actually had more option in its character creator, but since the rest of the package was so unappealing, you didn't see this big social media meme blitz.
It's the sharing world, Soul Calibur 5 was on the PlayStation 3.
Successfully commercial release that fit the demands and standards and platforms of the time is important too, but
it was good. It's so enjoyable.
I've been going through more of the single-player story modes, and the paradigm going on with that. I know, right? But Soul Calibur single-player modes were quite, intriguing and complete and fun, and the primary draw in the previous games. There was a really interesting, almost pre-Dark Souls sort of unique to video game storytelling going on, where you would find out subtle hints about the complicated relationship the characters have with one another and the differing perspectives they have on Soul Edge by reading their character profiles, going through galleries of artwork you would unlock in the mission mode, and also picking up on weird clues from their costuming. Like, the first time I was reading a description in the game about Soul Edge, an evil sentient mutant demon sword, and saw the eye on Nightmare's sword blink, and I put two and two together and was like, oh, it felt like I had discovered the coolest thing in the world. And then you go into character profiles you unlock and read about how, like, Ivy decided that she needed to seek out the secret blade, but wanted to make her own version of it to help her in the process, and that's how her sword is all freaky and magic and her moveset that you play with. And here you have modes where Ivy opens her mouth and declares that in a room to herself, and it sounds so much more stupid than reading it in a flavor text that's kind of like magically disconnected from the characters' faces and potential dialogue delivery. And
Soul
I feel
Calibur
like that's
is pretty like that anyway, though. It is pretty
Oh.
pretty stupid. Cringeworthy.
No, I
fun.
feel like that's a quality to the series now that's been
Yeah,
lost
that's what
in
I mean.
time
It's part of
because
its
it's
charm.
become. But I remember back
But
in
even like cheesy dialogue things now in that game are just a part of its weird charm.
they've always had like a really cheesy English dub, but in like the turn of the millennium, when your Dreamcast fighter lineup was Soul Calibur and Third Strike and Mark of the Wolf, like
Whoa, that's a pretty good lineup.
it is a pretty good lineup, but fighting games also have historically, stereotypically, and as an archetype almost had terrible stories, and Soul Calibur was the exception. Soul Calibur was the 1 and 2 were the one fighting game you could play if you cared about going through a story as a single-player experience. And now having these visual novel cutscenes that explain what I thought was a cool story is making that story look so much more stupider than what I remember, and it's really shameful and embarrassing, and I don't know if I like it.
I'm just gonna stick to the character creator.
I'm going through the Libra Souls mode, and it's really easy, so easy to the point where it's kind of a slog. The Soul Chronicles are full of that kind of dialogue that's almost I don't want to say like ruining the appeal of these characters, but it makes them sound like idiots whenever they talk with their mouths and speak, and I'd
They
rather
are
just
idiots.
have a vaguer story, like keep it more abstract and bound to menus, I suppose. I don't like saying that, but for this case, for nailing a single-player fighting game, I guess you can only go in the direction the old Soul Caliburs did, or that, like, kick-ass Injustice style where, like, every new fight is a seamless cinematic cutscene, seamlessly cutting in from the previous fight of a story that just continues to go on for hours as soon as you start off. Anyways, that's cool. I don't know if you guys play those, but they have a unique and fun version of making single-player fighting games fun. That might be a better way to carry the torch than following the Soul Calibur model at this point.
I think it's more about just not wanting to play against the CPU. I don't really enjoy playing against the CPU in fighting games at all.
For some reason, the Soul Calibur 6 default difficulty is easy as P.
That's every fighting game that's ever existed.
For real?
Yeah.
That's a shame. Anyways, do we have any final grievances we want to air before our break segment? The final non-sponsor filled break segment in which
The final battle.
I comb the internet for a fun novelty commercial instead of doing the real deal.
Three souls collide as everyone comes to the arid deserts in the journey for the Soul Edge. I love the commentator narrating the introductionary sequences. I've always enjoyed that about Soul Calibur. It's so stupid but great.
He's so bombastic.
900 souls have come on board of a ghost pirate ship in the middle of
are
nowhere.
we on break right now?
Maybe. Probably.
Yeah, oh, in that case, yes.
Peter Boyle is a tough, ill-mannered cop who is run down in the line of duty. But that's not the end of his story. No. He's reincarnated. Ha! Surprise! As a streetwise bulldog in Puchinsky.
What are you going to do now?
Well, first I'm going to try licking myself, and then I'm going to catch my killer.
The talking dog teams up with his astonished former partner to put the bite on crime. It's touching.
Look at me. I've become a dog. It's all sinking in now.
It's poignant.
But it's life. It's precious life.
It's unforgettable.
You're a dog.
I'm a cop. This is ridiculous.
Hello, and welcome back to our podcast, our wonderful, cozy podcast, in which we try to be a little more positive about the topics that make us gamers so mad. Topics such as Blizzard making a crappy-looking mobile spin-off of Diablo, and the audience and the crowd that they announced it to not taking it very well. I weirdly wonder if this can be like maybe the one case where I can give the angry mob in the crowd some benefit of the doubt, because those are very enjoyable clips to watch.
That guy.
Yeah. So explain this to me. So I saw this in passing when I was out working.
Right. So for people who don't know the specifics, what happened is Blizzard hosted their annual fan meetup convention costume contest tournament, BlizzCon, and had I don't want to call it a press conference because it's not technically a press event, but basically a similar sort of show with reels of trailers and executives announcing each new one before they go up. One of the trailers of which was a mobile spin-off made by a Chinese partner that looks about as fun and great as any typical shitty mobile spin-off.
Whoa, I think that's unfair. I think that is totally unfair.
It is. It's a prejudice.
The trailer
it's an
looks
assumption,
good.
I'll admit it.
The gameplay looks like Diablo. I feel like that's unfair to say.
And I think one of the great fallacies of having the reaction that they did that colors so many things wrong with the video game market is fucking wait until it comes out before making your serious judgments. It's not that hard to not pre-order shit or I guess worry that much about the apartment.
Yeah, that's totally why I don't get why you said you agree with the fans.
Because I can appreciate the opportunity these fans had taken to put themselves out in real life in front of cameras and break the over commercial scripted reality that so many of these shows posit. You
mean that one guy?
There were two guys who formed the filmic backbone of this saga. There's Red Shirt who asked during a Q&A, is this
Matt,
a belated April Fool's joke?
If you can find it.
They're punchy. I will admit they're
the guy's
funny.
a dick.
They're snappy.
That guy's a dick. The guy is like an A-grade dick. People work hard on that game. It doesn't matter whether you like it or not. That to be straight up in front of like 1,000 other people and be like, basically insulting them, saying what you're working on is a joke. With one, not having played the game yet. Fair enough if you have an opinion about a game. If you've played it, that's fine. Based on a fucking 1-minute trailer to then insult people about what they've been creating for probably like a year. It's just like, fuck off, dickhead.
Wait, I'm looking at this gameplay trailer. This is what they booed? Because it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I know, right?
I would not play it because it's on phone.
Yeah, that's the beginning and the end of
You basically just said why everyone's angry.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's so good. Like, your trailer looks so good. but we can't play it because it's on the phone. Or we know
right.
cares
And,
about it.
we're not
that
gonna
comes
play it.
with that stigma. The time and the era of cell phone games being a brave new frontier of creative new spins on established beloved genres is long past, and the audience's immediate reaction was something that I still feel is like what anyone would have been thinking inside of their head anyway.
I get it. I don't play mobile games, but as Matt was just the perfect example of this because he'd not seen it, he'd not done anything. He's impartial to this whole thing. He watched the trailer, said it was cool, and then said he's not going to play it because it's on phones. That is a fair enough point.
This happens regularly. Shitty cell phone spin-offs of beloved IPs or something that was announced like every single year at the Bethesda show at this point.
And this is weird. This is super weird because everyone knows I like Blizzard games, but I'm not like a huge Blizzard fan. I've played a lot of Hearthstone. I played Heroes of the Storm. I've liked WoW in the past. They are, no one can deny this, a consistently good company. They pump out incredibly high quality games like Overwatch, Hearthstone, two of the most popular
And that's the
video games.
irony.
The irony,
There's
it's not
so
even
much
that. It's
irony.
like there are so many smart people who work at Blizzard who have played this Diablo game for mobile phones, who probably are like, holy shit, we have managed to get Diablo down in its core elements, an exciting Diablo experience to mobile phones. We can't wait to share this with everyone. Everyone's going to be amazed
That's
that
the marketing pitch. You gotta wait till it comes out.
But no. If they were not confident in it, there is no way a company like Blizzard, at their own conference, would have made a big stage show and a hoo-ha about it if internally they didn't have confidence in it.
Well,
Blizzard don't have a track record of doing dumb shit like that. So,
I think
if you are someone who likes Blizzard and you see that, you're going to be like, yes, I'm disappointed about Diablo 4, which we'll get onto in a second. But you're going to be like, well, okay, it's on phone. I'll check it out. But, this is madness.
Yeah, I think
stupid.
the core problem here was actually them announcing it at a fan meetup style event instead of a press style event or shareholder meeting style
but like
event.
that's not the point. Like, if you internally
There's
are
more.
like,
There's more. I was gonna follow that up with that.
No, because we'll get to the fucking Diablo 4 bit, because that's irrelevant to like the fan backlash of
No,
what
I think
happened
that's
at the
part of
time.
it actually.
No, people are disappointed about that. But where else are you going to announce a part of your... This is no, like, Gears of War Funko Pop E3 nonsense. This is fucking Blizzard's own conference where they can do whatever they like, where it's all about Blizzard stuff and upcoming Blizzard stuff.
That's another good example, actually.
This cool... Why would you not talk about this really cool,
This
brand
has
new
echoes
Diablo experience?
Of the Bethesda conferences in which they would have revealed Fallout Shelter and the Elder Scrolls mobile spinoff they announced at E3, and at the Microsoft show there were some like cheapo Gears of War spinoff stuff announced as well, but they did follow announcements of main line sequel installments.
Okay, so this is where you can now get into the second part of the story.
I think it's more the logistics of the show than anything else, because when Bethesda was going through the motions of their shitty-looking Elder Scrolls mobile spinoff that's coming out, they followed that up with just a teaser nothing trailer of Elder Scrolls 6 to, I guess, soften the blow. And also that was more of a press-style event where they would assume...
So
they
all
also
Blizzard
weren't opening
needed to
themselves
do-
up to questions from the fans at E3 shows.
So all Blizzard needed to do... This is how ridiculous video game fan bases can be at times. All Blizzard needed to do was have a 5-second trailer of Diablo's
And
face.
guess what?
Cut the end off
Guess
of
what?
the trailer for the phone game with Diablo and just put Diablo 4 and it'll be like 3 years from now.
A day later, Jason Schreier comes up with the hot insider scoop. Sources claim Blizzard scrapped plans for Diablo 4 video that basically would have been an interview with one of the developers talking about how, we're working on it. after they would have announced Diablo Immortal. It got removed from the show lineup for, I guess, some logistical reason. People behind the scenes would know better than us now looking at it retrospect through the game of telephones of anonymous sources putting out news stories. But I I feel like there's a lot of logistics to the show that weren't handled well, that are also combined with an incredibly psychologically fragile audience driven by the like hyper consumerism of people who are paying $700 tickets to be there and spending hundreds of dollars of time to show up at this event and feeling like they gain some ownership, I guess, over the products from that exchange, which isn't how the market works. I also feel like it should not be surprising to see old successful franchises sell out eventually. Like I said, this is something that's happened repeatedly at tons of press conferences over the past couple years for a lot of beloved PC gaming brands. Not really a surprise at all. I don't know though. I still like hearing people take the mic to ask the hard-hitting, critical questions when given the chance. You might have thought he was a dick, but man, that guy, to me, he's the Vox Populi.
No, he's a dick.
Okay.
I don't understand why people get angry about things like this.
The fear is that it takes the focus away from the real big fancy sequels.
I can see why people get angry about stuff like the Gears of War Funko Pop. Like,
it doesn't matter.
ultimately-
They're still making the next Gears. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
because now they
Yeah.
have the money to outsource a cheap
Yeah.
project they can throw at a Chinese company and get them to churn it
Blizzard
out.
have just proved to everyone with the amazing reviews for the Nintendo Switch version of Diablo 3 that they can make a ported version of Diablo as an experience on portable devices. And with, mobile phones getting more and more powerful, and especially like with the new iPad Pro coming out that is as powerful as an Xbox One supposedly, it doesn't surprise me.
Oh, damn. What?
Yeah, supposedly. That
Damn,
a game
that's
like
sad.
Diablo, which has daily events, rifts, has a system already preordained into it, like a mobile phone game. Why they wouldn't try that anyway?
What I think fans should rightly be angry at is a system of hyperinflated budgets and poor management that ramps up the amount of time and money it takes to make a Diablo sequel into a territory that can extend past a whole entire decade. Because, man, back when Blizzard was, small, cute, charming upstart, they were churning Diablo 1 and 2 out over a period of like 3 years, and with the same feature creep and scope creep that crept into the whole video game industry around the 7th generation that kind of sort of established the AAA budget style we know today, that was associated with there being this 10-year gap between these games now.
It's even what's even weirder and more ironic to me is I've been lucky enough to interview David Brevik, who is the creator of Diablo, and when I spoke to him, that guy fucking loves mobile games.
Oh
So
no,
even,
the fans probably don't want to hear that either.
The creator of Diablo himself likes mobile games a lot. One of his favorite games is Pokemon Sun and Moon because it's portable and it's an RPG that's portable.
Does that count as a mobile game if it's
No,
a
but
Pokemon?
off the back of that, the portability
right.
of a core RPG experience that's portable. He also talked about mobile games that was massively appealing to him.
So on better news, there's I guess a nice good thing Blizzard is doing that I doubt anyone has any objections to whatsoever, and that is
Removing
giving
comments,
away stuff
removing
for free.
dislikes. Yeah.
Oh, I think. Wait, I was actually looking at one of those links earlier, and it looked paranoid as fuck. Anyways, you can't remove dislikes from YouTube. I don't know what kind of magical corporate conspiracy that would entail, but I can't.
No, you can't because you're
I
not
can't.
Blizzard. I'm not saying that they
That's
did
the
it. I'm just saying
assumption,
that
isn't
you're
it?
not
That's the
Blizzard.
conspiracy. Anyways, Blizzard is giving away copies of Destiny 2 PC version for free to everybody.
Oh.
Oh.
And all you need to do to qualify is be a part of their client launcher, which I don't know if the three of us have Overwatch or not, but in my case, it was something that they were able to sneak into an install with Overwatch. So, you guys want to play Destiny? You guys want to try it?
The problem with this is
I
it
have
doesn't
it
come with
already.
the expansions, does it?
No, it doesn't. I
guess not.
Highly
Is
doubt
it-
it. I highly doubt
Yeah,
it. 110% doubt it.
It's so weird that my first reaction to hearing news of free game being given away, just click on the button, and me actually clicking the button is not, oh yay, free game, it's, oh, do I have time for this? There's the thing with both Destiny, they're like real good after the expansions, right?
Yeah, they're not. The vanilla is never good. I mean, there's only been 2 games, but yeah, vanilla for the 2 games that haven't been so good.
The only bit of Destiny I played was the alpha for the first game, and I did not like it at all.
It's
Same. So my hopes aren't high, which is why I didn't react like yay free game, and it makes me feel
free
so
game.
bad.
If you don't have money, honestly, go.
I know,
go-
it's like
go get it.
I now have an objectively better video game collection at no cost to myself.
Well-
It makes me sad that I'm not more excited than I am, and that I might also just not have time for that.
Well, I already have it, and I already played through it, and the story sucks. It really does. I can say that, like, it sucks in my opinion. It sucks in a lot of people's opinions. And the gameplay is kind of the same. It's not a game that I like to play by myself, and I don't know what that says about the game. I mean, we've talked about this on this podcast. You know, playing with friends
I don't
with
think
anything. You know, it's fun with anything. But, like, you know, it's definitely a game that you want to have friends with, especially when you get after the story. When you start playing after the story, you want to do heroics, you want to do Nightfall and all that. You need people. And there wasn't a matchmaking system for a lot of those when I was playing, when it first came out. So you kind of just hit this wall, and you have to use, like, an LFG site just to get a party going, and the community for Destiny is a little off.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just a little off. You know, you don't have this. Oh, you're not using this. I never have to deal with it too much, but you know, when you do deal with it, you're just like, I don't feel like. I just want to play with friends who are not dicks. You know, because I'm gonna say something. It's like, all right, yo, chill, relax. You over the internet. You need to calm down with that voice. All right.
You ever get a weird, awkward experience where you're playing games with a friend and they're just like way too mean to the bad guys?
No,
like
I pick
they're
my
just
friends
like
very wisely, George.
really, you've never like
Wait,
sat on
how
the
did we end up
couch
here then?
with talk about like multiplayer games and their community sometimes being slightly off. I don't know if you guys ever had one of those friends who would start
they'll be like,
playing
I'm gonna
whatever first
slit
person.
your throat. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna blast my
And I'm
shotgun
just
right
like,
up your ass, like that type of stuff.
As they're like shooting the corpse of the bad guys before even after the fight is done and they're good, and I'm just like sitting there kind of like shrunk on the couch with like my face forcing a neutral expression, being like, okay, if this person thinks this is a normal way to play video games,
I get like that with Gears of War.
I guess I'm not able to judge. You get
With
like
Gears of
are
War
you that
multiplayer,
friend?
not with regular whatever.
You know, come to think of it, I do remember some very colorful trash talk back in our dive kick days.
Oh yeah. When you know, people like to feel themselves in Gears of War. Whoever played
Gross.
Gears of War for quite
Really?
a
They do
while,
that over
they know
the
what I'm
mic to
talking
each
about.
other
They
and
feel
then-
themselves,
okay.
and you just
They feel themselves.
Ooh, you just sit on them. You just blast their body, and they're watching you, and then you just
They feel
go on the wall and
themselves
start
and you sit
teabagging
on
them
them
from the
and-
wall.
All right.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's all a sex metaphor too, apparently.
And they do it back to you, and then you get mad and you do it back to them, and yeah, it gives you energy.
Sounds like a quality way to spend time.
Quality. Yeah, it's boring when none of that stuff is happening, in my opinion. Well, in that type of game, anyway. I wouldn't say I want that in all the games.
Speaking of sarcastically dunking on quality,
Wow.
and spending your time listening to good quality entertainment that's totally not boring. It's time to open some fan emails.
All right, let me get the bag real quick.
Those electronic mails that you keep in this burlap sack here on the floor of
All
our
right. What do
our
we have
shared
here?
co-op studio space. Yes. Sift through them.
Okay. First email.
Uncrinkle the server. All right, we got a message from Josh H, who says, "Hi there, longtime dad, first-time son. Recently, my friend's cat of 22 years was put down. That cat lived a good life, long life, and truth be told, everyone seemed prepared for his death. I can't help but think about my own various run-ins with death, like with my dogs who lived long enough to be unable to eat their
Wait,
food
what?
and ended up starving. I've lost relatives before to breast cancer and suicide,
Wait,
but
what?
I feel like the death of a pet hurts more. Your relationship with the pet is almost universally positive, and it feels impossible not to feel some pain when such a positive light vanishes so suddenly from your life. Anyway, death is dumb. Why do British people keep trying to say English muffins are a good breakfast? They're just shitty biscuits. Thoughts? Comments?
Wait.
What do we
His
have
cat-
for
his
Josh
cat
here?
was 22? Do they live that long?
That's a good
yeah.
innings.
Yeah,
That's a good innings.
That's a lot of lives cashed in.
And okay, English muffins.
Sorry for the loss of the cat, by the
No,
way.
forget the cat. English muffins, though. Oh my God, English muffins are of course
Yeah,
It's
a
good
breakfast.
with dead cat.
Liam, I feel like you got either called out or like victimized by some
I
stereotype
don't care. I don't
language
particularly
here.
care for English muffins. Crumpets are way better.
Oh yeah, see, there's some British people who don't fit your magical stereotype
English
of
muffins is
everyone.
amazing.
Also, they're not biscuits.
What are you talking about?
They're not biscuits. What is he on about biscuits anyway? They're not biscuits.
I don't think
what kind
he.
of biscuits are you
Okay,
eating?
I'm gonna need you, Josh. I'm gonna need you to go to the supermarket, Publix, Kroger, Vons, Skater Boys.
What's in
Albertsons,
Britain?
whatever's in your area.
What's the big grocery store chain?
Go to the bread section and go English muffin. Go pick yourself up a nice little set of 6, because that's usually what they come in. All right, put that in a toaster. Let it get nice and crispy at the edges, but not too much. And get some of your favorite spread, and just rub it on there. Take a bite.
Give your muffin a good old scrubbing.
That's a good muffin.
All right, moving on. We got an
They're
email
not biscuits.
from.
Wait. That's it.
Oh, that another package from
All right.
from Stefan.
Stefan.
Says, "Hey dads, was listening to the last podcast and was pleasantly surprised to find out Liam was working at Rockstar Lincoln. I've lived here almost all my life, and pretty much the only time I've heard the city mentioned was when the in-betweeners called our university shit. Preamble
shit.
aside, is QA a good way to get in the industry? I finished university following subjects I was good at, psychology and English, but I'm pretty sure my dream job will be in game dev. I'm currently learning Unity and Blender with the end goal of working on my own small projects, but could a QA experience be meaningful on a CV? Does working QA reflect the environment people higher up in development work? Also, should I just avoid Rockstar Lincoln?
Okay, let's break that up into segments.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you did in university. If you are learning Unity and Blender right now and stuff, or you're doing stuff in your free time, that's amazing. That's great. People don't do that. a lot of people think like going to university and studying game design and all that kind of stuff will automatically land them a job. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's usually, I don't want to say a waste of time, but if you're not doing stuff in your own time, like building up your portfolio or just learning and enjoying it, because if you don't enjoy making games, you will never make a profession out of it, and it'll be
I
pointless.
feel like
to you.
resumes don't
So,
matter. And that's for like all jobs. Like resumes don't matter. It's more about showing them what you can do than anything else.
Especially in video games. Like, if you're online and you're on Twitter, and even if the games you're making are not even that great, at least you're making stuff, which is like 90% better than everyone else who wants to be a game dev out there. A lot of people just have design ideas in their head and don't do anything with them. You know, they send them into Dad Den, and then we use them instead. So, unless it's Blast Core, it's already been made. We get it. Cool. Anyway,
Boom
QA is an excellent way to get in the industry. It is the lowest rung on the ladder. There is none lower. QA is the lowest rung on the ladder. But so many people who are famous video game developers in the world out there right now are people who started out in QA. People who started on franchises back in the day who now do some of the biggest AAA franchises in the world started out in QA. QA is an excellent way to get into the industry. It shows you learn a lot about how games are made. If you don't understand that already, if you've got a grip of stuff like Unity and Blender, it's great because it means that you're a more valuable member of a QA team. If you're able to do stuff like scripting, or you can fix bugs yourself anyway, if you find them and stuff like that, which will help you progress even further. QA is a great way to get into the industry. Following on from that, not avoiding Rockstar Lincoln is silly, even through the horror stories you've heard. If you are lucky enough to get into Rockstar Lincoln anyway, you should take the opportunity. The people who work there are amazing people, and some of my friends still work there. They are great people, and with the changing that's happening with their hours, based on, you know, Kotaku's work and all that kind of stuff, it should be even better a place to work. I can guarantee you QA is a great place to start because the people who end up getting into QA are kind of like the whittled down few from thousands. Like, I remember when I applied for Rockstar Lincoln, 600 plus people applied for my position, and I was the one person who got it. So there was something that Rockstar Lincoln saw in me as a potential for their studio, and on beyond that, based on the stuff I was doing at the time. So if you can get through that 600, you're already doing better. And QA is a great way to learn from other areas of expertise. Rockstar's maybe not the best way for learning because devs are separate from QA at Rockstar. And in terms of like then following on from that, going to, is it the same environment for people who do higher up work in dev? No, it isn't. I don't know about all studios, of course, but no, it usually isn't. QA is like almost a factory. Sometimes it's people in, do a project, people out, new people in, rotation. You know, if you stick with it, then you can progress through, but sometimes it burns a lot of people out because QA is a lot of hard work. As everyone says, QA does not get the respect it deserves sometimes for the amount of hours those guys put in. Everyone's been reading about the Rockstar stories. Honestly, go read the Eurogamer and the Rockstar and the Kotaku stuff about Rockstar Lincoln, and it'll give you a good idea of what to expect a little bit.
There you go.
It's ball busting, but it can be worth it, and it is a good way to get into the industry. Absolutely, don't snub any job to do with games if you want to do game dev.
I hope the answer was thorough,
Satisfactory.
Enough to satisfy Stefan.
All right.
Next up is from Axton M. Dear George, Liam, and Matt, what games are you the most worried about properly being preserved before they disappear forever, either old or future games? Is DLC only going to be detrimental to that preservation effort in the future, and is there a good way to combat this? They go on to give an example of Azura's Wrath, which is a fairly recent Capcom game. I remember that coming out circa like 2008-9, maybe?
That's such a good example.
It has a huge DLC issue. While a fantastic game on its own, the fourth and last chapter of the game is locked behind DLC, which gates the players off from the conclusion. Really? It's shipped like that?
there's like an additional chapter of the story.
While the DLC is still up now, the PS Now's version does not include the ending, leaving the game incomplete. I worry this will eventually go the way WiiWare went and leave a great story incomplete.
Oh.
I would say this is a good example, even minus of that, because games like this, which are like good games but small fan bases, are not worth either remasters or being packaged in bundles. So they are the type of like AA games that get left to the wayside and everyone forgets about, and then they just fade out of existence.
And
DLC or
like
not,
that,
this is like the gray area where those games like Azura's Wrath or Binary Domain and other, maybe Lost Odyssey or something like that, even though that had like the Xbox One backwards compatibility, those kind of good games that are not like top tier AAA games will just fade away. They'll fade out of existence.
Yeah, and that's a shame because I feel like it's those products that ride the line between massive popular success and also massive popular artistic movement changes that are the most important to preserve, which Azura's Wrath might be a better contender for than any bestseller. I mean, I don't feel like future historians are going to care that much if every single year's Call of Duty is preserved, so much as the like quirky games that end up radically changing things in
Like
the long
Too
term
Human.
more than the short term.
Everyone wants Too Human to be
Yeah, but even saying that, going back to the company who made Too Human, they made Eternal Darkness. Eternal Darkness is one of the best GameCube games out there,
Which didn't sell much.
and didn't
There's
sell
not
much,
a lot
and
of
will
copies
never
lying
get
around.
a remaster. It had a Kickstarter for a sequel, and that couldn't even raise enough money because although it's a great game, it's like the grade underneath like the AAA, and that will just never get touched in the future. Like if you think about all the games that are getting remastered now or getting saved by preservation, it's all these giant bundles, but most of the time they're all super popular games already, like Metal Slug or Mega Man and stuff like that. It's like games everyone already knows about. There's no way we're gonna get like in 2 years in like 10 years time like a PlayStation 6 version of Azura's Wrath. It will just be a game that everyone will be like, oh yeah, I remember that. That was really cool. There's DLC with Ryu on the moon where you fought Ryu. That was cool. I wonder if I could play that. Oh, I can't. That sucks.
At the same time, like that, we're just moving towards a more digitized future, and we sure can keep digitized versions of these games.
Yeah, that's what's
but
even weirder.
Having
is
the
that
hard archaeological record is something that should not be neglected as well in terms of speaking of the preservation effort.
That's what's even weirder is the more we head towards digital, the more there is like no excuse for there not to be a digital record of every video game ever made. It's the whole digital media anyway.
Which is so much more volatile and abstract and unpredictable. There's a lot of valid theories assuming out there that today's times are going to be regarded as a digital dark age in the future when our paperless records are no longer readable. Which,
Wow.
I don't know, might be quite a long whiles off. Definitely not in our lifetimes things, because our generation's going to have the old equipment lying around even if hard drives start becoming formatted in a fundamentally different way that break
What is
compatibilities
the
in the
oldest
future.
piece of equipment you have that you could hook up within an hour right now?
Well, let's see. There's an NES lying on a armoire literally 10 feet away from me, and that's from the early 80s. I feel
Can
like
you
that's a
hook it
good
up and play it
example
right
of
now?
standards. Yeah, like relatively being kept consistent to get old artifact electronics working. It has AV cables.
What about you, Matt? What's the oldest thing you could hook up in an hour that you own personally right now?
Nintendo. The first Nintendo. I got. There's
They
a game
were
stuck
really
in there,
popular.
though. Mario Brothers is stuck in there, and I'm scared
That's
to
hilarious.
take it out. I'm scared to kind of open it up and try to take it out. That old freaking toaster. God dang it.
Well, I guess that proves the point then.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I prefer sliding in a nice cartridge, and if it doesn't work, you take it out again, you blow it. You slide it in again.
It's so weird that I think I like digital games and prefer digital games.
Me too, but I still like physically owning things.
In the future, historians are going to think we're really, really weird for like willingly letting go of making hard records of things like that. Maybe.
Or they're going to be the opposite.
How.
And they're going to be like, why didn't everyone buy digital versions of each other? It was more efficient and cheaper way of saving the planet's resources, not using all that plastic to make all those game cards, all those 1 billion Red Dead Redemption copies.
I mean, I could understand the space issue, because it's definitely a space issue, especially depending on where you live. And, I mean, if you have too much stuff, you just have too much stuff. But there's something about, like, taking out a record, seeing the album art, put it on a record player.
Yeah, that kind of stuff I get. But like with the Switch, for me, it's like if you have something that's like
just a little
portable like that, it's so convenient.
Yeah, no one cares about that.
It's so convenient to have all of them digitally on your Switch available at any moment. I started doing that with my 3DS back in the day, and most of my 3DS games, I guess, within the last 2 or 3 years of me using it, were like all digital versions.
And they tend to run cheaper. It's a little more convenient. It's I think it's the convenience that really sells it to me at the beginning and end of the process. I like not having to go out in the world and confront other people to buy video games.
Well, you know that for me, it's like a necessity. I'm happy I live in this digital age, because if I lived in Japan maybe 10 years ago, I wouldn't be able to play half of the video games that are available right now.
That's just 10 years. Only
Think back to 2008, downloading Pixel Junk Monsters on your PlayStation 3.
2008 was really when it like caught on. That was when I participated in my first big Steam sale, I think.
That was only 10 years ago.
Well, that's the podcast. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Man, that's a terrible. That's terrible. Let's beef that up a little bit. Well, thanks for joining us in this week's Dad and Sons. We love you all.
No, you're just like squeezing it out. At least they can hear the like sleepy exasperation.
No. Let's be positive. Go out there and for one, you should vote. I guess that's what everyone's saying right now.
It's gonna be too late by the time this comes out.
Well, I'm telepathically telling you all right now on a Tuesday, the day you should be voting. If you can vote, you should vote.
After the gym, I'm voting.
And then after that, get yourself your favorite drink. Make yourself a nice little summer. Sit down and play like a game you like.
Yeah.
Be positive. Yeah. Don't be angry.
Work. Don't go to school.
If you
go play a game.
Take the day off. Your dad and sons write you a note. We'll write you a note.
Yeah.
Take the day off. Play a game you really enjoy.
Well, before you play the game, though, please like us.
That's true.
Or review us on iTunes. We need to get those ratings up.
We do.
Let's get up to 1,000. Let's get to 1,000.
We're drowning here.
We're drowning in love.
Yes. Give us some 5 stars.
You can subscribe to us on YouTube as well. Search for Super Bunny Hop second channel, not that main channel nonsense. Second channel.
I know, the one that gets updates.